Hey guys, my name is Leslie Jingluski and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for Avalon Center. Today's topic is elder abuse. Elder abuse is a silent problem. It robs seniors of their dignity, of their security, and in some cases it costs them their lives. The sad truth is that up to 5 million older Americans are abused every year, and the annual loss by victims of financial abuse is estimated to be at least $36.5 billion. So in order to address this, we have to first ask the question, what is elder abuse? Well, elder abuse can include physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, exploitation, neglect, abandonment. Perpetrators include children, other family members, and spouses, as well as even staff at nursing homes, assisted living facilities, anywhere. So let's talk about the different forms of abuse. Let's talk about what they mean. Physical abuse means inflicting physical pain or injury upon an older adult. Sexual abuse is exactly what it sounds like. It means touching, fondling, intercourse, or any sexual activity with an older adult when that older adult is unable to understand or unwilling to consent. Being threatened, or physically forced. Then there is emotional abuse, and that includes your verbal assaults, threats of abuse, harassment, intimidation. And there's another form of abuse known as confinement, and this means restraining or isolating an older adult other than for medical reasons. There is passive neglect, and that is when a caregiver fails to provide an older adult with life's necessities, including but not limited to food, clothing, shelter, or medical care. Next, we have willful deprivation, and this is denying an older adult medication, medical care, shelter, food, a therapeutic device, or any other physical assistance, and this exposes that person to the risk of physical, mental, or emotional harm. Now, obviously, the exception to this is when that older, incompetent adult has expressed a desire to go without such care, and that's totally different. Finally, there's financial exploitation, and this is a broad form of abuse. It simply means the misuse or withholding of an older adult's resources by another person. So let's talk statistics. So about 1 in 10 Americans that are over 60 have experienced some form of elder abuse. And there are some estimates range as high as 5 million elders abused every single year. There's actually one study out there estimating that only 1 in 24 cases of abuse are actually reported. So imagine how that number is super high. I get a lot of people who want to know who are the abusers of older adults, and the answer is really unfortunate because abusers are both men and women. And in almost 60% of elder abuse and neglect incidences, the perpetrator is a family member. 2/3 of perpetrators are adult children or their spouses. And another question I get is what makes an older adult vulnerable to abuse? And the answer to that question is also sad because it's social isolation. That's a big one. Unfortunately, we haven't even tapped the surface on abuse that has escalated during the pandemic. Another one is mental impairment. And when we say that, we are talking about things like dementia or Alzheimer's disease. There's some recent studies that show nearly half of elders with dementia have experienced abuse or neglect. Interpersonal violence occurs disproportionately higher among adults with disabilities. It's just a fact. So let that sink in. And finally, what are the warning signs of abuse? And in the case of physical abuse or neglect or mistreatment, we look for bruises, pressure marks, broken bones, abrasions, burns. And in cases of emotional abuse, we look for unexplained withdrawal from normal activities. We look for a sudden change in their alertness, unusual depression, strained or tense relationships, and frequent arguments between the caregiver and the older adult. And when financial abuse is suspected, we simply look for a sudden change in financial situations. If it's neglect, we look for bed sores, unattended medical needs, poor hygiene, unusual weight loss. So what are the long-term effects of elder abuse? Well, we know that elders who have been abused have a 300% higher risk of death when you compare that to those who have not been mistreated. And while likely it's underreported, estimates of elder financial abuse and fraud cost to older Americans range from $2.6 billion to $36.5 billion annually. Now, what do you do if you suspect elder abuse? Well, if they're in immediate danger, you always dial 911. That's a given. But otherwise, the people you want to contact if you're suspecting mistreatment is Adult Protective Services in your locality, and you can get that information from your Department of Social Services. The idea is to keep this from ever happening, and that's where Avalon comes in, and we play a huge role in the community. Prevention is done by educating seniors, educating professionals, educating caregivers, and the public on abuse, letting them know what abuse is, how to stop it. And the first thing that you want to do is to take care of your health. Go to your annual visits. Go get your screenings done. This is so important. Seek out professional help for drug, alcohol, and depression concerns, and really urge family members that may be going through this to get that help for themselves. Also, and I can't stress this enough, plan for your future. It's crucial. A power of attorney or a live-in will, you can address healthcare decisions now and avoid confusion and problems with family later. Always get independent advice from someone that you trust before you sign any important documents. Stay active in the community. Stay connected with friends and family. Besides simply being fun, this is going to decrease your social isolation, which, as we talked about, has been linked to a lot of cases of elder abuse. This one is simple, but it's very important. Post and open your own mail. It's a good way to know what's going on. Look for red flags. Don't ever give your personal information over the phone. Use direct deposit for all your checks. Make sure that you have your own phone. Take the time periodically to review your will. If you have services for a paid caregiver, or if you have family caring for you, understand that you have the right to voice your preferences, to voice your concerns. So June is Elder Abuse Awareness Month, but honestly, we need to be having this conversation all year round. Avalon is here, and we are going to respond. Check us out at avalоncenter.org. Thanks for watching, guys.